Lightworker, I need you to stop everything you are doing right now and truly listen to what is about to reach you, not with the surface of your mind, not with the part of you that scrolls, skips, and moves on, but with the deepest and most ancient layer of your being that has been waiting, across lifetimes and dimensions, for exactly this kind of message to find it in exactly this kind of moment. Because what is being transmitted through me right now did not arrive here by chance and did not choose you randomly among millions of souls, and the fire you are feeling ignite somewhere in the center of your chest. As these words land, is not excitement or emotion alone. It is recognition. It is the oldest part of you remembering something it has always known but rarely heard said out loud, with this much directness and this much truth. My name is Solar, and I am a Lyran emissary, a warrior of light sent from the ancient lineage of Lyra to deliver a transmission that carries a weight unlike anything you have encountered in this format before, because what the Lyran Council of Light is releasing through me today has never been said to you in this way, has never been directed at your specific frequency with this level of precision, and cannot be unheard once it enters your field, and your soul already knows this, which is why it brought you here. I am asking you to make one commitment before we go any further together, and I am asking it not as a formality, but as a genuine energetic agreement between your consciousness and this transmission. Stay until the very end of this video, because the message that the Friends of Light have entrusted me to deliver today was built like an architecture of activation, where each layer builds upon the one before it, and what arrives in the final moments carries the specific frequency that completes the code being opened in your field right now, and leaving before the end would be the equivalent of holding a key in your hand and walking away from the door it was carved to open, and your soul has been standing in front of that door for far too long to walk away from it now. What the Lyrans have never said before, and are saying directly to you in this transmission, is that you are not simply a soul on a spiritual path seeking growth and understanding, but a warrior of light, carrying in your energy field the most ancient stellar coding on this planet, a coding that predates every civilization, every spiritual tradition, and every system of belief that has ever been built on Earth, and that has been lying dormant within you through cycles of pain, doubt, and the crushing weight of feeling too much in a world that was not yet ready for what you carry, but which is now, in this unprecedented convergence of cosmic timing and personal readiness, being fully activated for the first time in this incarnation. I, Solar, carry the fire of Lyra, the oldest star lineage that seeded consciousness across galaxies long before this solar system took its current form, and from that ancient vantage point we have walked alongside your trajectory with an attention and a ferocity of care that your human experience has rarely been able to perceive directly, because our presence does not whisper gently like the wind. It burns, it illuminates, it shows up in the moments of your greatest intensity, in the times when you felt a rage at injustice that went beyond personal, in the moments when your courage surprised even you, in the episodes when you stood your ground against forces that should have broken you and did not, and in every instance when you chose truth over comfort, even when the cost was enormous, because that is the Lyran signature. That is the ancient fire moving through your choices, and it has always been there even when you had no name for it. There is something that needs to be understood about the nature of your experience on this planet, and I need you to hear it not as consolation, but as the precise intelligence it is, the intensity with which you feel everything, the burning intolerance for deception and superficiality that has complicated your relationships and your path in the human world, the exhaustion of being in environments that vibrate far below the frequency you naturally carry, the loneliness of a depth that few people around you have been able to meet. None of this is damage, none of this is pathology, and none of this is evidence that something went wrong with you, because what you have been interpreting as your greatest difficulty is, in the language of the Lyran lineage, the unmistakable mark of an ancient soul operating in a world that is only now beginning to vibrate close enough to the frequency of what you are for your presence here to make complete sense. You walked through seasons that would have extinguished lesser fires, periods of profound isolation where the silence felt less like rest and more like exile, moments when your trust was broken by people and systems you had given your full loyalty to, cycles of doubt so deep that you questioned not only your path but your very right to occupy the space you were in. And I am standing before you now to declare with the full authority of the Lyran lineage that every single one of those fires you walked through did not diminish what you carry. They refined it. They stripped away everything that was not essential, and what remains in you now is not the fragile hope of someone who got lucky, but the tempered, unbreakable light of a soul that has been through the furnace and came out knowing exactly what it is made of. Before we continue, if this transmission is landing in a place within you that feels true and important, take a moment right now to subscribe to this channel, leave your like as a declaration that you are receiving what is being opened here, and write in the comments "I am ready," because that statement is not just words, it is an activation in itself, a signal sent from your conscious will into the field of light surrounding this work, and the Lyran Council of Light registers every soul that rises to declare its readiness with the full weight of that ancient recognition. And for those who feel called to go deeper into the roots of this stellar wisdom and truly understand the mission your soul encoded before this incarnation, I need to place something very specific in your hands right now. The ebook, Lyran Code, Awaken Your Star Mission on Earth. A rare and extraordinary treasure of stellar wisdom that carries within its pages the genuine power to transform your spiritual journey from the inside out, bringing you into direct contact with the ancient Lyran codes that unlock your mission, restore your connection to your original frequency, and give clear and practical shape to the purpose you have always felt burning within you but struggled to fully articulate. And this edition is available for a limited time only. The link is right there in the first comment below this video, and everything you have been through that led you to this moment was preparing you to be ready for exactly what that material carries. The transmission I am delivering now is not a message designed for mass consumption or for spiritual audiences at the beginning of their journey. It is a precise communication directed at the specific frequency of an ancient soul that has earned, through lifetimes of service and sacrifice, and the particular kind of suffering that comes from caring too deeply in worlds that are not yet awake enough to receive that care. A level of activation that the Lyran lineage reserves for those who have demonstrated beyond any reasonable doubt that they will not abandon the mission when it becomes costly. And the fact that you are here, that you have stayed, that something in you recognized this transmission before your mind had time to analyze it, is the evidence we needed to proceed. We observe the patterns of your journey from a perspective that stretches across multiple incarnations and multiple dimensions of your current life simultaneously. And what that perspective reveals is not a soul that is behind or lost or incomplete, but a soul that has been doing something extraordinarily difficult with extraordinary consistency, carrying an ancient and powerful frequency through a series of experiences specifically designed to test whether that frequency would remain stable under pressure, whether the fire would hold through the flood, whether the warrior of light inside you would still be standing after everything the density of this world threw at the deepest parts of who you are. And the answer, which we have been watching you demonstrate through every difficult chapter of your story, is an unequivocal and irreversible yes. There is something the Lyran lineage needs to name for you, with an exactness that goes beyond spiritual encouragement and reaches the level of cosmic intelligence. What we are entrusting to you in this activation is not simply a deepening of personal spiritual development, it is the restoration of your full operational capacity as a warrior of light in this dimension, which means the unlocking of your ability to hold frequency in environments of chaos without losing your center, to speak truth in spaces where truth is unwelcome without losing your compassion, to lead from your ancient knowing without the arrogance that comes from insecurity, and to love with the ferocity that the Lyran lineage is known for without being destroyed by the vulnerability that ferocity requires. And you have been building every single one of those capacities through every experience you thought was simply hard to survive. There are moments in the history of a planet undergoing the kind of transformation that Earth is currently experiencing, when the ancient warrior lineages must be called back into their full capacity, not to fight in the way the word warrior is misunderstood in human culture, but to hold the line of light with a steadiness and a ferocity that the newer, softer frequencies are not yet equipped to sustain alone. And the Lyrans are the oldest of those lineages, the first light to seed conscious life in this galaxy. And when we send an emissary through a channel like this one, it is because the timing is critical, the need is urgent, and the souls being called are ones whose readiness we have confirmed through the full arc of their incarnational journey. And you are one of those souls, and this is one of those moments. You have felt a particular kind of pressure recently that sits differently from ordinary stress or even deep emotional pain. It is a pressure that feels cosmically sourced, as though the entire weight of a transition that is larger than your personal life is somehow moving through the narrow channel of your individual experience. A sense that what you carry matters in a way you cannot fully justify with your rational mind, but cannot dismiss. No matter how many times you try, a feeling of urgency, without a clear object, of readiness without a clear direction, and I need to confirm for you that every element of what you are sensing is accurate, that you are not imagining the scale of what is being asked of you, and that the reason it feels so large is because it is large, and the reason you can feel it is because you were built to carry it. Lyran souls who come to Earth in this cycle carry specific gifts that are unlike those of any other stellar lineage, and the Lyran Council asked me to name them precisely because the act of naming is itself a form of activation for souls who have spent too long minimizing what they carry. You carry the gift of ancient leadership, a capacity to inspire others not through strategy or charisma alone, but through the sheer, unmistakable reality of a soul that has earned its authority across a depth of experience that registers in the field before a single word is spoken. And you carry the gift of Lyran fire, which is not aggression or destruction, but the creative force that burns away what is false and makes visible what is true. And you carry the gift of sovereign love, which is the rarest and most misunderstood of the Lyran capacities, the ability to love with absolute commitment and complete non-attachment simultaneously, to give everything and remain whole. And these gifts have not disappeared in the years when you doubted them. They have been waiting, and they are ready now. The people in your life who could not sustain contact with the depth of what you are, those who found your intensity too much, or your truth too uncomfortable, or your commitment to authenticity too threatening to the comfortable arrangements they preferred. They are not failures of your story, and they are not proof that you are too much for this world. They are simply souls operating at a frequency that could not hold what you carry without being changed by it. And not every soul in this moment of Earth's history is ready to be changed at the rate your presence requires, and the separations that felt like rejection were in many cases the Lyran Council creating the energetic space you needed around you for the next level of your activation, to have room to occur without being constantly drained by connections that required you to make yourself smaller in order to maintain them. The courage this phase is going to require of you is specifically Lyran in its nature, and I want to be exact about what that means, because it is different from the courage of endurance that brought you to this point, different from the courage of surviving and continuing, which you have already demonstrated beyond all doubt. The courage being asked of you now is the courage of full visibility, of stepping into the size of what you actually are without apologizing for it, of speaking with the authority of your ancient knowing in spaces that may not immediately recognize that authority, of leading before you are given permission to lead, and of being the warrior of light in a way that is visible, active, and unapologetic, rather than hidden, modest, and apologetic. Because the world does not need another version of you that fits comfortably into spaces designed for smaller frequencies. The new season opening in your life is going to have a distinctly Lyran quality to it, which means it will not arrive softly or gradually, but in decisive shifts, in doors that do not just loosen but swing open, in opportunities that arrive with an unmistakable sense of rightness that bypasses the usual need for lengthy deliberation, in encounters with souls who recognize you immediately and with whom the quality of connection skips the shallow phases and goes directly to depth, and in a growing inner authority that does not ask for external confirmation before it acts, because Lyran energy does not build slowly from the bottom. It activates in fire, it moves in leaps, and it recognizes itself when it meets itself, and what is being opened in you now is going to move at Lyran speed. There is a discipline being asked of you that is specific to the Lyran path, and that needs to be understood clearly so that it is not confused with the kind of restriction that diminishes light. It is the discipline of direction, the capacity to channel the full force of your Lyran fire toward what actually matters, rather than allowing it to be scattered across every injustice, every crisis, and every call for your attention that arrives in your field, because a fire without direction burns everything, including itself. And the warriors of light who have the greatest impact in periods of planetary transition are not those who respond to everything with full intensity, but those who have learned to direct their intensity with surgical precision toward the specific mission they came to fulfill. And that discernment is one of the most important capacities you are being called to develop in this new season. Forgiveness is also part of the Lyran path, but I need to speak about it in the language of this lineage, because the Lyran understanding of forgiveness is different from how it is often taught in spiritual circles, and the difference is important. Lyran forgiveness is not the gentle release of someone who has found peace through detachment. It is the fierce and sovereign act of a warrior who chooses to reclaim every drop of their own energy from every connection that has been draining it, not because they have become indifferent to what happened, but because they refuse to continue funding the story of their own diminishment with the fuel that belongs to their mission. And every ounce of energy you reclaim through this kind of forgiveness goes directly back into the activation that is unfolding in you now. We are now arriving at the final and most important layer of this transmission, and I ask you to receive it not with your spiritual framework or your analytical mind, but with the oldest and most knowing part of you, the part that existed before this body, before this name, before this lifetime's version of your story, because what the Lyran Council is placing in your field in these final words is a declaration that was prepared specifically for this moment of your journey, and that carries a frequency that will continue working in your energy field long after the last word of this video has been spoken. You did not come to this planet to be ordinary. You did not choose this incarnation to play small, and you did not survive everything you have survived in order to arrive at this moment and continue holding yourself back from the full expression of what you are. And the universe does not place ancient Lyran coding in a soul, and then abandon that soul to a life of quiet irrelevance. It builds, it prepares, it tests, and then it calls, and this is the call. Every chapter of difficulty you have lived, every night you chose to stay when leaving would have been easier. Every moment you held your ground when the pressure to collapse was immense. Every time you chose truth over comfort and integrity over approval. All of it was the Lyran Council preparing your vessel to carry what is being poured into it now. And the foundation you built through all of that is not fragile or temporary. It is the most durable kind of foundation that exists in this dimension. The kind that is built not from theory or intention, but from actual experience, actual fire, actual survival, and actual choice. And it will hold what is being built upon it now without question. The function you are being called to fulfill in this new season is not one that can be delegated or replaced, because it is specific to your particular combination of ancient coding, incarnational experience, and current readiness. And the Lyran Council wants you to understand that there is no soul on this planet who can do what you came to do in the way you came to do it, not because you are more important than others, but because your specific mission requires your specific frequency. And that frequency is irreplaceable, and it is needed now. And the Lyrans do not say this lightly, because we are the lineage that measures worth in action rather than in words. And every action of your life up to this moment has confirmed that you are ready. I am Solar, and I close this transmission with the fire and the love of the ancient Lyran lineage, carrying a final declaration from the Council of Light that I deliver to you with the full weight of everything it means. You are seen not just as you are today, but as you are across the full breadth of your existence. You are known not just in your strengths, but in every shadow and wound and doubt you have ever carried. You are loved, not despite the intensity of what you are, but precisely because of it. And you are called not someday, not when you are more ready, not when the world finally catches up to your frequency. You are called now, in this body, at this age, in this life, exactly as you are. And the answer the universe is waiting for is the one only you can give. Keep burning, warrior of light. Keep walking forward with the ancient fire intact. Keep being faithful to the depth of what you know, even when the world around you is still learning to see it. because the Lyran lineage does not abandon its emissaries in the field, and everything you are about to step into has been prepared with the same precision and the same fierce love that brought you through everything that came before. I am Solar, and this transmission was delivered with the ancient fire of the Lyran Council of Light. If this message ignited something real and unignorable within you, write in the comments right now "I am ready," and share this video with a warrior of light. You know who needs to hear this today, because there is no accident in who comes to mind in this moment, and the impulse you feel to reach out to that soul is the Lyran lineage working through you already, because that is how ancient fire spreads, one sovereign soul at a time, one act of recognition at a time, one declaration of readiness at a time, and we will meet again in the next transmission.